As spawning in the top right hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the Polish Terran player representing Storm Gaming. Oh, it is Spirit. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing Team Abydos. He just took down Silky 2-0. It is DRG. Here we go. DRG versus Spirit. Spirit quickly rising through the ranks over in Europe. He has become one of the best Terran players in all of Europe. I mean, he was always at the top. He was always up there. He was always competing amongst the best of the best. But this year specifically, he has risen to arguably top two. Oh my god. He's risen to arguably top 2 Terran in Europe. He has been outperforming Hero Marine in TvTs recently. And he's been looking so damn good in some of the other matchups as well. So it's really cool to see Spirit closing the gap. I think in years past, Spirit was still top 3, but the gap between Spirit and Hero Marine was larger. I do think that it used to be larger, and that gap has been closing very quickly over the past year or so of play. So really cool to see. Meanwhile, I freaked out a little bit there because DRG, that's a pull first. As a pull first opener here from DRG, he's going to have some faster links available to him. He's going to be able to try to disrupt the opener of Spirits. And I think this is a wise choice if it was the Spirit of old. Spirit, he used to go for CC first very often. Very often he would go for a CC first on low ground and delay his racks as a result. But he hasn't done that in quite some time. So we'll see what DRG can get done. First 2 links are on the way. They're in production. Overlord is going to be scouting and is going to be confirming the racks expand of Spirit. Links move out. Spirit does spot this. He confirms this. Is making his first Reaper, of course, back at home, and he should be able to hunt down these lings. These lings shouldn't really get too much done. But what they do is that they deny scouting. It means that the SCV wasn't able to confirm the opener. The SCV is, or Spirit is in the dark as a result of these lings. This Reaper had to stay at home just to make sure that he was able to preserve and keep his CC alive. He's looking for those lings as he moves out across the map to confirm what is going on, whether there's a fast Roach Warren, fast link speed, fast Bailey Nest as well. There's a lot available. A lot of possibilities. As the Reaper dives in and confirms the singular gas that we pulled out of gas as well. So Spirit is aware that nothing too crazy is happening. He can transition back at home. We are going for a 3rd CC before Starport, so a very economic opener here from Spirit. Very macro oriented. So he does head towards that Starport. Back at home, DRG just saturating his bases. I would say that DRG, he kind of played chicken in the early game and he rolled the dice and didn't go his way. I would say that Spirit has a slight lead just because of the opener, just because of the delayed hatchery and the wasted links and wasted pull first, I should say, from DRG. Unable to catch Spirit with his pants down. Meanwhile, this is looking to be just a standard 3cc Banshee opener from Spirit. Oh. As he's going to be making that Viking first. Hellions are moving out. Once the Viking comes out, are we going to see an add-on swap? I assumed we would, but no, we will not. We are going to be prioritizing Stim instead. Okay, you have my attention. No Banshees, very minimal harass available here for Spirit. He's only going to have Hellions vying for map control. No Banshees to speak of. Bean's going to be dancing with the units of his opponents. The Overlord dips in, and what did DRG see? He saw the reactor on the reactor on the factory. He saw Marines. He saw Hellion production. That's all he was able to confirm. As a result, we should be working towards, or we should be building up the queen counts. We're going to be skipping out these spores, which is a little bit surprising. Interesting. DRG is going to be delaying his lair as well. He's going for double Evo chambers first. In a very greedy way to play, but with this, DRG is going to have an upgrade lead. The downside to this is that DRG he's going to have delayed lair, delayed banelings, and delayed baneling speed. which can be risky if your opponent's being aggressive, but as we can see, we don't really have too much aggression coming out. We're able to get away with these faster upgrades. As the Hellions do shark in between the bases, doing what they can. Lair finally on the way, a minute later than is typically expected. This is going to be a 5-minute 30 Lair instead. Back at home, we're getting our Raxes up and running. We're also getting into double eBay production. Tanks have commenced for Spirit, and he hasn't been able to do too much with these Hellions. He picks up a tumor here and there, but nothing too major. He hasn't been able to dance with these queens, at least not too much. It's just very passive, very defensive play from Spirit. Like, sure, he's being active with the Hellions, but that's pretty much it. Viking hunting down Overlords, Liberator, chilling in the top left-hand corner of the map. We haven't really gone for any kind of big push yet. A very conservative play here from Spirit. He dips in, goes for a scan, clears up some tumors, and dips out. Never committing too hard to anything. Armory on the way behind this so we can get into 2-2. We can morph in some Hellbats if we want to support the tanks. Spire on the way for DRG. Yo, we're going old school. We're going Lingbane Muta. Okay, I can get behind this. Now, it's a really interesting way to go into Muta play because we're spending so much gas on these upgrades. Usually you want to preserve your gas for mass Muta. So, interesting choice. Well, meanwhile, here we go. The push is upon us. 2 tanks are ready for this. One of them unsieged. Good positioning. Queen does go down, and we are cutting a DRG off from his own base. We're going to try and commit Banelings and Warling on in. We're going to be connecting with the Hellbats, and it looks like we should get on top of the tanks. It's a good idea. It was a good position overall from Spirit, but he was caught unsieged. Only one of his tanks was really involved in that attack. And the Hellbats, they weren't able to protect them in the end. DRG holds onto his 4th, just barely. Meanwhile, we had Liberator here in towards that natural. Did get cleaned up. Spirit tries to reposition, and he's going to trade as efficiently as possible. Can he pick up the tank? Up! Ooh. Just barely will. He's getting a couple of pot shots off on those Lings. But for the most part, DRG, he gets away with expanding. He gets away with his 4th base. The Mutas are soon to arrive, and DRG is looking pretty. He's sitting back, looking in a very commanding position. He shut down the tanks. He has map control. He's able to respread his creep. He held onto his 4th. He has a 5th. 2-2 on the way. And the Mutas have arrived. And here we go. Mutas are headed towards that main base. Turret is done here at the natural. Not quite done in the main. And we can camp that production. Oh! Going to be delaying that missile turret as well. We get a kill on the turret. We get a couple of SCVs. 4 SCVs go down. And not a single Muta has fallen. Again, already a good start. Just keeping Spirit pinned back at home. We have Thor production. We're getting to Widow Mines as well. So far, a good reaction to the Mutas. What's important is, again, we aren't going mass Muta. I kind of love this. We have 10 Mutas to harass, and that is it. We are still focusing on pure Lingbane, focusing on upgrades. We should be working towards an infestation bit momentarily as well to get into 3-3. But until then, DRG just with the map control is looking for a way and looking for an angle of attack. We do have a couple of mines now mixed into this army, so we're going to have to be careful. We have to respect them. How good are the connections going to be? Here we go. Sphere, he just completely evacuates the base ahead of time. Up! A massive mine shot does go off. Oh, a lot of Lingbane is going down. Another mine is going to be connecting as well. And it looks like we don't have enough to clean up the Marines. It looks like Spirit is going to be able to hold on. He deflects the army. That was pretty committed from DRG. It's 41 Banelings, 125 Lings. A lot of these things went down earlier, to be fair. He was able to get the Thor and 2 tanks. It was an okay trade, especially considering that DRG, he's up to 88 workers. That's the thing to bear in mind. DRG, because of his high worker counts and because of his Ling Bane, like, his goal here is to keep trading, keep fighting. Oh god! Oof. As we are looking for another Bailey connection, and we get a massive mine shot instead. Oh my god. The efficiency from these mines has been insane. We're going to be able to clean them up, but this Widow mine, the hero mine, 18 kills. Most of that 18 were Banelings. And did DRG just take one fight too poorly? Spirit pushing onto creep. We can see DRG now taking these mines a little bit more seriously. We do have 2 more mines behind us. Oh, they both get triggered. They both go off. Ling Mute on the right-hand side, looking to hunt down these drops, and it looks like he will find that one medevac. Up! Oh, we'll lose a Muta for it. Does get the army. Does get the Marines, and now we can focus on this main push. Oh my god, this is this is really interesting SimCity. I mean, it's working, don't get me wrong. A lot of depots. Making it really awkward for these Lings to really find any damage. Lunker Den on the way. Interesting. Okay. Wise move, especially against all this Ling Bane. Sorry, against all these Widow Mines. Oof. Pushing up this ramp, though, is not working out for DRG. Yes, respect this position. But yeah, we've stopped investing into mutas. We're going into lurkers instead, which can do very well against Marine Marauder Widowmine. As we dive on this army for a moment there, Spirit, he wasn't looking. Oh, he took one second too long to really recognize what was happening. Mine shots are going off. The Thor gets surrounded. The Ghost will survive as Spirit pushes through across the map with another drop. Oof. Good mine shot does go off, but the mutas have arrived to shut down these medevacs. Yeah, and oh god, this is quite an expensive loss here for Spirit. So what is this? 4 medevacs go down. And the Lurker Den is done. The Lurker upgrades are on the way. The Lunkers are soon to arrive. I mean, Spirit, he already has Ghosts, and that will help against the Lurkers. But Widowmine's not so much. You know, this is where tanks need to get involved. Oh boy. Without those tanks, DRG can dive on this army. Mine shots are going off. Decent connections here on the Ling Bane, but we have more where that came from. The CC goes down. And Spirit barely has anything left. Oof. It's being forced all the way back to the planetary. We have enough Banelings to deal with this. They're stuck behind the Hydras. But they are rolling on in. They take down the planetary. They take down the Ghosts. And Spirit is losing everything. We don't even need the Lunkers. Lunkers would be nice, but we do not need them. Spirit trying to hold on, trying to get into 3-3. I mean, he's going to be able to catch all the mutas at least, which is nice, don't get me wrong. But he's not ready for the lurker play. That's the problem, and we have 11 lurkers being morphed in as we speak. Lings get shaved off. Good mine shots, but the lurkers have arrived and they just completely zone away the bio army. All the upgrades are done. Adapted talons, lurker range. 4th base is denied. Spirit's going for a big counterattack. DRG sees it ahead of time. He does rotate with the army. He meets up and he's looking to engage once again. Oof. Big mine shots go off. But we need more than just mine shots, Bafi. We need more. GG gets called, and DRG will take game number 1. Oh, GG, well played. Really solid game there out of DRG to go into the muta play, to transition out of it as well once he recognized the amount of mines that Spirit had available to him. The other big thing is that Spirit wasn't really able to slow down DRG's economy. We saw a little bit of drop play. We saw the first tank push that was designed to kill a base. If you remember, it was designed to kill the 4th base. But after that tank push got cleaned up, it felt like Spirit lost any kind of momentum, any kind of map presence. The drops were being cleaned up because of the mutas as well. That's the other added advantage of going into mutas like that, is it deters drop play. It meant that Spirit couldn't really harass, and when DRG, after he droned up to 88, after he saturated his 4 bases, I don't think he lost a single drone. I don't think he was ever really hurt in that way, and as a result, he just snowballed out of control. Just constant aggression, constant trading, constant pushes. GG. Was wild. And now, we're going to be getting into game number 2. Game número 2. Players, it looks like they just need a moment for themselves before we jump into this. Looks like we have a couple of other updates. Mana did, in fact, 2-0 Young Yakov, advancing on into the next round to face off against Gumiho in a PvT. TY still underway against Dimaga. Still mid-series. Ooh, and Future did take down T-Bull, but it was not an easy series. T-Bull took a game. T-Bull took a game, and yeah, Future did advance on 2-1 over T-Bull. GG, very well played. But here we go, we're diving into our own second game, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gress Farm, we have the Polish Terran player representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is Spirit. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gress Farm, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing Team Abydos. It is DRG. Here we go. Once again, what is it here? I'm really curious. Once again, DRG goes for a pool first. We saw that in game 1. This actually kind of set him behind. This didn't really pay off at all. To be fair, he only made 2 lings, but those 2 lings didn't get anything done. We delayed the hatchery. We delayed drone production. DRG is doing it again, and we'll see if Spirit skips the SCV scout, because he didn't in game 1. And there are Terran players that do skip it. Cure very often skips his SCV scout. Bjorn as well. Bjorn also skips it. So I wonder if this is just because of the Korean ZVT meta, or TvZ meta, that DRG is going for this. And we'll see if it pays off. As Spirit is going for the SCV scout across the map. Alright. Well, we have confirmation. Yeah, we are going for that scout. Meanwhile, Spirit getting his CC on location. Racks expand. As to be expected, Reaper on the way. The lings are about to be revealed. Spirit does spot them. Does know about them. And Spirit should be keeping his Reaper back at home. He confirms a hatchery on the way, so he knows that it was a pull into that expand. Reaper is actually moving out, so bold move here by Spirit. Okay, he moves out a little bit, then he does pull back home to defend, make sure that he's in position to protect that natural base, and DRG doubles back with his lings. He knows that he can't get any damage done. He knows that he cannot delay the CC because he got scattered, and lings stay at home. And this is going to hurt him a little bit more. If you remember, in game 1, DRG only made 2 lings. Here in game 2, he made 4. Again, this is kind of wasted lava. This is kind of wasted lava that could have been drones, could have been a faster base, could have been a faster third. So DRG's just been gambling quite a bit so far this series, at least in the early game. Reaper is able to come across the map, and Spirit has to make sure that there's no fast roach warren with this, that there's nothing too crazy going on. He at least confirms the third base, so he knows it isn't an all-in. And back at home, he is going for that third CC before starport. So just like that previous game, very economic. As we get into our add-on swap, Should be working towards that tech lab for Spirit as well. And so far, this is looking pretty similar to the previous game. Pretty similar. Now this is lined up for an add-on swap, that's the difference. And yep, we are going to be going for a Banshee opener this time. If you remember last time, we actually made the Viking first for Spirit Viking, and we went into Stim. This time we're going into Banshees instead. Cloak as well. So with this Spirit, he's going to be having a little bit more map presence. He's going to be able to harass early on. He's going to be able to vie for control the creep, and also try to pull away the queens to get some economic damage done in the mineral lines. So a much more aggressive opener from Spirit compared to, I say aggressive, much more harassment oriented opener compared to the last game. That's probably a better way to put it. As the Hellions are just going to be dancing here with the queens, keeping them busy, keeping their attention across the map. Meanwhile, DRG hasn't gone into the main base. He doesn't really know what is going on. Hasn't been able to piece things together. No spores, bear that in mind. Once again, DRG going to be delaying his lair, going for the double Evo chambers. Going for the double upgrades. Again, this means that the Overseer isn't going to be available. Still no spores. DRG being quite greedy here. He can be punished. Ling tries to go for a scout, doesn't see too much. Did not get into the main base. Oh boy. And I'm a little bit concerned. I'm concerned that these Banshees are going to do more than enough damage. We'll see. We'll see how much longer this goes on. In a couple of seconds, DRG should be starting his lair. And there we go. Spores are thrown down because he doesn't really know what's going on. He's going for his spores. And they should finish up in time for the Banshees. As the Banshees is going to be moving out towards the northern portion of the map. Spores are finishing. Bear in mind that we have one spore in the main. We have one spore in the natural. No, and there we go. Spore at the third. No spore at the fourth. So the fourth base is going to be a little bit compromised. Likewise, the lair is barely halfway done. Was a 5-minute 30 lair once again. So we have potential. We definitely have potential with these Banshees. We dive in, we ignore the fourth base. We're going into the natural where the spore is done. Ooh, despite that, we're getting quite a lot of drones already. 5 drones, 6 drones go down. Queens are trying to keep up. At the same time, the Hellions can also try to threaten one of those mineral lines. Do we have enough in position? We do have a couple of Lings. Yeah, we do have enough Lings to stop those Hellions. As the Banshees get 7 drones in total. And they still have a lot of health to work with. 7, 8, 9, 10 drones go down. Oh my god. 10 workers go down. And we can also chip away at this base if we want to, or just try to clear up whatever creep we can. The Banshees survive. The Hellions don't find too much damage, but the Banshees did. And already, this is a better start for Spirit compared to the last game. We cripple the economy of DRG, we slow him down, and we don't throw away the Hellions. I think a lesser Terran player would just ape in, just rush into one of these mineral lines, try to get damage done. Spirit, he takes things a little bit slower, a little bit more conservative. If he did, like, there are plenty of Lings to stop him. So again, very wise of him not to dive in with those Hellions, just clearing up all the creep here in the center of the map, just preparing himself for his follow-up push with his tanks, with his Marines. Armory on the way for 2-2. And here it is. The push is coming. And it's very popular, very common for Terrans to just push through the center of the map on Gressman, make use of the positioning, make use of the terrain. Army has been spotted. DRG is going for a massive counterattack at the same time. A bold move, but the wall is not a wall. The Marines get surrounded. The Lings, they get into the mineral line as well. Oh, Spirit is hurting. The Bailey's, they roll in. No! The mineral line goes down. The Bailey's, they head towards the third base as well. 22 SCVs go down, and Spirit, he needs to get damage done with his main push. He is pre-split. He is spread out beautifully here with his Hellbats, with his tanks. DRG Can he hold on to this third base? The Lings, they come back home. They're setting up for a surround. They gotta be careful not to be too premature. And here we go. The Queens, they roll on forward. The Banelings are stuck behind the Queens. Uh-oh. A lot of Banelings go down. Oh, that was a costly trade for DRG. The Queens, they were too thick. The tank shots on the Banelings were insane. And Spirit may have the momentum he needs. Reinforcements do arrive. Good Baneling connections. The Queens are barely holding on. We have more Lings on the way. The tank survived. And it looks like Spirit, he may just have too much. We're waiting for reinforcements. Both players are. The Queen's doing what they can. Transfuses through. Injects coming in clutch. And here we go. He dives in once again. We don't have that many Banelings. We get 1, 2. We're going to get 3 tanks. But there's still so many Marines. Spirit, he doesn't want to let up. He drops that tank. Oh my god. The Queens are going down. Again, we still only have a couple of Banelings and they fall. GG gets called. Spirit breaks DRG and takes game number 2. GG. I'll be honest, a lot of that did come down to those Queens just walling off the Banelings. That was brutal. The Queens, they were too thick. They just created a wall and the Banelings were stuck behind them. We saw, I want to say, like 3 tank volleys. Massive volleys from those tanks going off on the Ling Bane behind those Queens. Oof. And because of that, basically DRG, he created his own funnel, his own choke point where the Ling Bane was just trickling on through, and yeah, Spirit had the best fight he could have hoped for. And now we're getting into the ace match. We are getting into game number 3. I'm just catching up. I'm doing my predictions for I'm doing my predictions for WTL. Making sure I've got everything I need. And here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have the Polish Terran player fighting back in that last game, tying up the series 1-1 and forcing the ace match. Representing Sidestorm Gaming, it is Spirit. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing Team Abydos. It is DRG. I'll hold off on the predictions. I'm undecided on a couple of these things. I don't know, Papi. I don't know. As we are getting into this, and this time DRG goes for a much more sensible hatch gas pool opener. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. Again, these pool first builds from DRG just haven't been working out for him. Oh no, but they would have. In the ace match, Spirit, this is when he goes for a CC first. This is when he goes for a much more greedy opener. Ay, ay, ay. With this, he's also going to delay his SCV scout. DRG, he was gambling earlier. This would have been the moment. But alas, it is not. As DRG is going for a hatch gas pool. Spirit going for a CC first into his racks. Oh, actually, he's still going for an SCV scout, to be fair. Is still going for one. So would have gotten eyes on this. The Overlord of DRG is going to let him know. He's going to tell him that, oh, it's the CC. To be fair, I'm pretty sure the CC first like this is vulnerable to, I could be mistaken, I want to say it's vulnerable to a 12 pool. Not to a pool first, because I believe the CC will be done by the time the Lings get across the map. If I'm not mistaken. I believe that's how the math works out for that. Regardless, we do have Spirit going for his tried and true, going for his famed CC first against Zerg. And is getting into his own factory. DRG getting towards his third base. We are going to be macroing out of this. And again, another big reason as to Spirit's success, it wasn't just the engagement, it wasn't just DRG having his Ling Bane stuck behind his queens, but it was the lead up to that as well, where Spirit was able to get over 10 worker kills with his Banshees, and even keep the Banshees alive as well. So he had a great amount of damage done at the start of game 2. That really did kind of snowball into that victory. DRG crippled the economy of Spirit as he was pushing out, but I mean, Spirit, he had everything he needed. He was forced into an all-in, but he had such a good position and such a large army. Again, DRG, his engagement left much to be desired. As we are getting into that next game, into the ace match. Once again, going to be a 3cc build here from Spirit, going into his starport, going into that add-on slope. And yeah, as I mentioned before, I think the chat's catching up. There's the delay. There's the delay, but yeah, I believe the timing works out where the pool, where the CC finishes, and the pools, the links from the pool first actually don't get there in time, unless it's a 12 pool. I think that's the only exception of that. Oh. But yeah, it's really cool. Really cool to see. We don't really get to see enough Terran players go for CC first. I think Spirit, he's known for doing it the most. I have seen, I want to say I've seen Cure sprinkle it in, but again, not too often. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Would be great to see it a little bit more prevalent in the scene. As we have that Banshee coming out once again. And this time, I'm sure DRG is going to be a little bit more... I say that. I was going to say he's going to be more on notice. But once again, he does delay his lair. He's going to be going for double Evo chambers first instead for those upgrades. So even though this is a bit of a greedier way to play, and even though we saw those Banshees do so much damage in game number 2, DRG was able to finish up his spores in time. If you remember, the spores were done for those Banshees. It was more about the queen positioning. It was the fact that the queens weren't quite where they needed to be to deflect those Banshees. Unfortunately. And hopefully they'll have a better, or they'll be positioned a little bit better this time, as the first Banshee is looking to dip on in. Spore will finish just in time. Oh! Just in time to deflect that Banshee. 2 drones will go down. Only 2 for the time being. DRG is a little more on notice now. The Banshees have already been revealed. Oh, the Spore not quite done in the natural though, and once again, this is getting a bit out of hand. 7 drones go down, both Banshees do survive. And we're looking for even more damage. Oh god, can we keep up with the amount of damage we did last time? Can we equalize that, if not exceed that? So far, 8 worker kills, not quite. Oh, as DRG is rushing into an infestation pit. Very interesting. Okay, so with this fast infestation pit, he may decide to skip the Spire and the Hydra Den. He may be looking to go straight into Hive Tech, to go straight into something like Lingbane Ultra. I don't see Infestors incorporated into this too heavily. I don't think that would make as much sense. I don't think I've seen DRG go Swarm Host in ZVT. There are some players that do this, like specifically Cham comes to mind. Going Swarm Host against Terran, against Bio. But there it is. There is that Hive on the way. So, yeah, really interesting. This is a really bold move, especially on a map like Babylon. Maybe it's because he has so much map control. Like, the creep has gotten out of control. The Hellions haven't been able to stop this creep at all, whatsoever. As Spirit is working towards his push. Once again, the Armory is about to finish up just in time to morph in those Hellbats. Hellbats are morphed in. The goal here for these Hellbats, of course, is to keep these tanks safe and sound against these Lynx arounds and failing run-bys. DRG flirting with the idea of pushing him, but he takes a tank shot to the face. He does back off. Time is on DRG's side, though. He's just amassing a larger Lingbane army. As he is looking to time on these Marines, but again, the tank positioning is just so damn good. DRG can't really close the distance. But yeah, what I was getting at is that typically we see Lingbane Ultra on larger maps like Altitude or Ancient Cistern as well. To try to do this on Babylon, it's really bold. Like, these tank pushes, it doesn't take them too long to really lay siege upon some of these bases and get across the map. We have a Vipers on the way. Adrenal Glands as well. Once again, the tank positioning is pretty damn good, but that's not going to stop DRG. He comes in anyway. He gets the first tank on the low ground. The spread is too good, though, and DRG, he cannot close the gap. He's being forced back once again. He immediately gives up the space. No, the Vipers have to be coming out of the top right-hand base. They're going to go down. Ooh, that is brutal. The Vipers were DRG's way to clean up this army, and they both go down instantly. Ay, ay, ay. This is going from bad to worse. Spirit, he has maxed out. Once again, the Lingbane attempts to engage. Looks like one tank is going to fall. We can barely get the second. But DRG, he's spending his entire army trying to make this happen. At the same time, the Banshees come in once again to harass that third base. Not like this. As the Queens are going down, and yeah, DRG's just, he needs time, and time is not something that Spirit is going to give him. The army has been reinforced. We're pushing out across map once again. Now, do we have the Vipers? We do. They are gathering up energy in the main base, but at this point, it may just be too little too late. DRG, he's down in supply, he's down in army. His way of winning this game was surviving was with those Vipers. Earlier, I should say. Now they arrive, but look at the spread. Look at the spread here from Spirit. It's so damn good. And DRG is barely going to clean this up. He barely does hold on. Meanwhile, we have a second army moving out. Alas, is being held back by all this creep. There's quite a lot of creep to work through, to be fair. So DRG, he has time. He can also regather that energy on his Vipers. The Lings, they go for a massive counterattack. We do force a cancel on the CC. With that, DRG's barely trying to hold on. I mean, now with the additional Vipers, he's going to be able to force this back. Throws down a powerbomb just because he can. He is going to force Spirit back home. He's going to give himself some time here to remax, to rebuild. DRG has to be careful not to overextend, though. Throws down a couple more powerbombs for good measure. Is going to back off. Is going to re-drone, retake his bases. DRG, he's on the road to recovery. He's taking up towards a Hydra Den, towards Lurkers, I imagine, as well. I just worry because Spirit has no chill. His macro has been insane, instantly rebuilding, instantly remaxing. As long as Spirit spreads out his tanks, he should be able to break the space. As long as he doesn't bunch up his army against those Blinding Clouds. Yeah, DRG knows he can't fight. He knows that he has to give up this location. He's going for a massive counterattack instead. And it looks like he should be able to take down the third base at least. The base alongside of these SCVs are going to be going down. Meanwhile, DRG is also losing his own third. 19 SCVs go down. Spirit, though, he is not stopping. He's ahead in army supply. Bailings are wasted across the map as well. They're not going to be ready for this push. Good parabomb. Good on siege. Oh. As here we go, we have a DRG diving in once again. The blinding clouds do connect with two of those tanks. And DRG is going to hold on. He is going to force this back. He does lose the Bailey nest, but he survives. And now suddenly things are that much closer. Spirit doesn't have an amazing economy, not anymore. Not after losing all those SCVs. He's trying desperately to take a 5th base. Willing to hit or stop him. Now, without the Bailey nest, DRG can't really commit to a big engagement again. He has to wait a little bit longer for the Bailey nest to finish up. I believe we don't have a lurker gen yet. Still on the way. Still on the way. And this is the worrisome thing, like, I feel like some numbers can be deceiving at times. Or DRG, he's got a good drone count. Well, he's heavily oversaturated here. He doesn't have the bases to actually mine efficiently. Doesn't have the bases to make use of all of his SCVs, all of his drones, sorry. Meanwhile, Spirit does. Oh, as we're going to be able to catch some ghosts. Good pickups here for Dongregyu. Very nicely done. Yeah, just constantly trying to deny this 5th. Vikings have arrived. They're going to be a good answer to these Vipers. As DRG is double expanding, trying to get one of these bases back up and running. And once again, Spirit remaxes. God, it's been crazy. I want to say Spirit has been able to remax for the past 3 times, just before DRG even reaches 170 supply. DRG has just been on the back foot this entire game. Ever since that first push, ever since the Vipers got sniped. Now we do finally have a lurker den on the way. If DRG is able to get into lurker play, then I do think that the tables can swing in his favor. Maybe he'll be able to just give himself a little bit more breathing room, establish these bases. As once again, DRG knows he cannot engage. He cannot engage with all these tanks. He's going for a big counterattack instead. He's going for the planetary. The base is going to fall. The SCVs as well. This time we don't waste the Bailings. You love to see it. But as he kills the planetary and 18 SCVs, he loses 2 hatcheries. He loses 2 bases. Spirit heavily supply blocked, to be fair. We can see DRG just going for these hit and run tactics. Constantly going for these counterattacks. Taking down sensor towers, rotating around towards the left-hand side as well. Spirit is trying to keep up. Goes for the scan, it does spot the army. DRG is clawing his way back into this game. Burrowing Ling's doing his own good job at just keeping the base count low for Spirit. The worker count low as well. Now, what DRG can't do is fight the main army. He's going for the ghosts, a bold move, but no, the ghosts are saved. They do get picked up by the medevacs. Oh, a big loss for DRG. Again, it's one of those things where he just cannot engage with these tanks. Whenever he does, he just drops in supply. Shout out to that one bar thing. Forcing a scan. Lurkers are in production as we speak. Oh, solid EMP. We only have one Viper with energy. And it is not going to be enough. We're going to be able to pick up the Ghost. The Lurkers have arrived. But at this point, it's too little too late. DRG was not able to reestablish these fringe bases. And Spirit is going to continue to push, continue to deny hatchery after hatchery. DRG is being starved out. Has never really had the bank to rebuild any of these big fights after any of these big fights. It has just been an uphill battle this entire time, and it's just it's just been difficult here for DRG. He's had his moments, don't get me wrong, especially with all the counterattacks, with all the run bys. He's doing it again. Could catch a couple of tanks. A couple of tanks go down. SCVs here at the third base as well. Like DRG, he's finding damage. And he's holding the line with these lurkers. Oof. At least until the ghosts arrive. We can see slowly, meticulously, Spirit is pushing on forward. He's leapfrogging his tanks, his ghosts. And over time, DRG is being forced back. He gets another couple of SCVs. Oh, as these long distance mining drones are gonna go down, as they go down as well. DRG's on his last legs. This is the power of Babylon. Like, once you get a little bit of momentum, once your bases start getting denied, it is so difficult to reclaim them, so difficult to rebuild them. This time a bailing run by heading towards its planetary. A lot of SCVs are going to go down. A lot of damage is done. The planetary will fall. Spirit is losing his economy, but I'm getting like Gressman vibes with that. As we just stim on forward, the lurkers go down. There wasn't enough to support them. The base has been broken and Spirit has done it. The army is gone. The bases as well. DRG down to a quarter base mining. Nothing left in the main. 4 patches left in the natural. It was a hard-fought battle. There were moments for DRG in Game 2, and even in this game as well. Just some ill-advised attacks, some unfortunate spawn locations for the Vipers as well. Unfortunate engagements early on. GG gets called, and Spirit does it. He takes down DRG 2-1 and advances on into the next round. GG. Oh, let's go. GG, well played. Congratulations. Congratulations to Spirit for taking this series in the end, for taking down a titan like DRG, a veteran of the scene. Very well done. Congratulations. My condolences to DRG. I believe that does mean that he is eliminated. He is eliminated from the qualifier, from the tournament. He will not be a part of the AfreecaTV Champions Cup. Instead, Spirit moves on to face the winner of TY versus Lambo.